guys, welcome back to another podcast, episode number 5. Today I've got a special guest with me today. Ali, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm really excited to be here. I met Mahdi actually in university, and I recently just got to know him even more and realized that he has a YouTube channel. I used to be in that field, and I really support this. And I'm looking forward for this episode today.
Yes, I'm glad to have you. Thank you very much. I'll even post your YouTube channel.
Sure.
And get free subscribers anyway.
I hope so.
Check it down in the comment and the description, I mean.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about mental health in terms of sports, with relation to sports.
Yeah, actually, I would go like to. Actually, the topic of mental health could be in different aspects. So I'd like to go into everyone if we have time. So,
yeah, sure.
So now sports is really good. I'll move to that later on. Just like talking about mental health in general. So you could say mental health, like in old days, like it wasn't that recognized, or it was stereotyped. Like someone has problems, anxiety, stress, or something. They just say something is normal that you'll pass by. It's gonna go either way. But sometimes this leads to big problems, and if you want to classify mental health, it could be by obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, depression, stress, etc., etc. At some point, if we don't, the thing is that mental health is stereotyped. Now, it's very, very, very important according to a lot of research, I guess. Like, this topic is now really hot, you could say. It's trending. Because it's really important that, because of the old days, it was really ignored, you could say. Now it's more of how can we solve this problem? Because a lot of problems in an individual as he's a child do accumulate over time, and this leads to indirect situations that will have to mental health. For me, I would like to say a personal story, like for me, about how mental health is really important. So back at school, I was like young student. I don't want to mention like the school or something. I used to get a lot of feedback from my teachers in school. This is around like elementary school, you could say, where I was like told that I was not good, not gonna succeed. They used to call up my parents a lot, telling you that your son is weak. I think it reached to the point like maybe I'm not really good at school or something like that. So I was hearing this back from my teachers, and the negative comments that teachers filled up my parents with, and this comments coming back to me at home were like a lot to me, sometimes. So it does make a lot of stress to me and anxiety. So at a point, like I reached like I'm just a loser, like this is really bad for me, I don't want to, this mentality, guys. So like it's a really bad mindset. But it kept on like this for like 6 years, I guess. Then actually around 6 years, and I was bullied, like you could say, from my friends, just due to being different in terms of like grade criteria. And trust me, I don't believe in grades. Like grades are something, and the individual is something else. So grades do not define you. It's just a paper, just an exam. You get over it. Anyways, like this went on for 6 years. Then I eventually transferred to another school for new opportunities, new stuff. So the first year was really rough for me because it had a different curriculum, you could say, and I didn't get that much good. So the next year after that, I had to also I got negative kind of comments from my teachers also, so I had to deal with that too. So yeah, and I was afraid because I don't want the same thing to happen all over again, because this creates anxiety, stress, and really critical. So I had to go like every day just afraid of raving and going through that experience again. So it's really stressful to deal with, because that's your mindset now. So it's really bad. You can't go on like that. So anyways, I end up they decided to put me in a like different curriculum where they don't give me that hard of exams with respect to my students. From there on, I just like, I don't know what shifted me, but something happened in which I wanted to focus on myself, on my studies, and prove everyone wrong. So when I focused on mindset, I started doing the easy exams. I used to ace them. So they were like, the teacher was like, No more easy exam for you. You have to take the normal one because you don't have any problem. Just keep in mind that they said that I had a problem. They made my family believe that too. So fast forward to grade 9, grade 10, 11, 12. I was in top of my classes, not all the years, but good grades with respect to before. And that's just due to my, you could say, of course, I would like to thank God. I'm very grateful for God. Without him, I couldn't be reaching here, and just grateful. This is a very important message that I'm grateful to God, thankful for God. And I just want to highlight something that this mindset of how I shifted from this to this is really important because I know I don't know a lot of people, but I'm not 100% sure, but I know some people do face this, that you're not good, that grades define you. You don't have a good path because you're not good at grades, you're not going to reach anywhere. Trust me, and when you're young, this fill up in your mind, especially when you're young, because when 6 years pass by and you're in the same mindset and afraid, it's really difficult. But when you put your mind in its right place and just focus on yourself, this is really important because this sense of mindset to you, that no matter what's happening in your life, what difficulty you're facing, you're gonna get over it and always be grateful to God. Like, this process has not been easy, but again, it's your way of thinking, your way of. I do want to highlight on something, that the change of environment, the encouragement of the teachers, and then the next school, the years after, were really important. So the environment really does matter at this point, because you're like, as they say, like you're the average of the person, the time of people you spend time with. So it's really good on that point. So the environment that you settle in, that you live in, does make an influence. And I just want to remind you of that. If you're standing with people or friends that are always hanging out, not doing nothing, not focusing on their lives, I don't want to talk academically. I'm just talking about like what's good for you. Okay, so this plays a role really, and you need to have a driver. You need to have something that helps you focus on later on in your life. Like, you need to have, you could say, a fuel that will help you go. Like, let's say I want to prove people that I'm not a failure. This should be your drive. I'm not saying go back. Now I could have got back to school and show them where I am, but I really don't care at this point, because I'm really grateful for God. I'm really happy that I'm where I am now, and I don't want to prove to anybody that, especially them. I don't want them to know even if I'm doing good or not, because I'm just focusing on me, because revenge at this point is not important. So yeah, I'm super grateful for where I am, and this is where I want to stress about the mental health issue, is that when it comes to these, you could say, for the 6 years when I was young, this really plays a role. Like, if I didn't focus on myself and didn't look at my future and my driver, how I'm gonna get there, I wouldn't be here. So yeah, I'm again thankful for God, because at this point, sometimes you could say people will eventually quit and don't want to do anything with their life. They want to quit school. They want to quit. Reminder, just not school, like everything they want to do in life. So here is why mental health is very important, because you could say mental health awareness is very important at this point, because this creates disorders. When someone becomes depressed and has PTSD from classes or from people giving negative comments, this affects the character of that person. Let's say you're really good at doing presentation, or you're really good at playing or doing a podcast or doing certain activities. These negative comments, or that you're weak and you're a failure and you're a loser, such that this really demotivates you to do anything at this point. So this is a barrier that people should look at. Like here in Lebanon, I mean, like, mental health awareness should be very important, especially in programs in schools. This is really a critical point that people should focus on at this point, because without it, I mean, like, a lot of people lose hope, especially in these times when the financial and economic crisis, Beirut explosion that happened. A lot of people are facing mental health problems, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is what I want to highlight. If you want to mention anything on, I would like to keep talking on this topic. If you want to add something from your experience.
So I wanted to ask you something about your story, and I can very much relate to basically most of what you said.
Yeah, okay.
I wanted to ask, and it's kind of irrelevant now for people who are listening to it at our age, because we can't do much about it now technically, but when you were in elementary and you had that phase of, oh, okay, my parents are like listening to teachers' comments about not
They're filling up their mind, yeah.
yeah. How would you as a how did you as a kid feel? Like, what was going through your mind? How did you like go from that change in a way, not in terms of grades, but mentally? How did you go through that change as a kid, not knowing nothing, not knowing much about the world itself? Not, you don't have that much information because you're still like pretty much a baby in a way. You're still a kid. Like,
Yeah.
like you don't know anything. So how did you think about like pushing through that or going through that?
So it's been a difficult period at that time, not gonna lie. I usually like try to hide sometimes who I am. I try to avoid the grades, not show them sometimes, like especially when it comes to signing the papers. Yeah, that was a difficult task, to be honest, because I was afraid of that stress rising again. Now usually nothing happened that much, but it's like the negative comments of the teachers, that was the most difficult part, because they kept making me live like in stress, and I tried to avoid it by not doing anything in a sense of like regarding not studying. I usually kept on studying. I didn't care about the negative comments, but it was stressful because when I had free time, I used to take the best out of it, because this is the time I could escape. So they made me like kind of hate what I'm doing, what I'm at state at, like where am I living. They're trying to make me to hate my life, hate my what I'm doing. That was really, really bad. So I used to try to escape, used to like procrastinate sometimes. So to try to answer your question is that I used to try to procrastinate or do something else to just avoid this kind of stress. So I had to deal with it every day, and the fear and the stress and anxiety of that was really difficult. So it was just a matter of time.
So two things based on what you just answered, like you're saying, first of all, you're saying you're keeping everything inside of you. You're keeping it, you're not letting people know how you're feeling.
Exactly. This is very, very. Thank you for mentioning that, because sorry I'm interrupting, but okay. Keeping them inside, this is the big problem. This is the big problem, especially when you're a kid, and it's been for a long time. This really builds up for something bad for you in the future, I guess, because you're just holding that grudge all in. Yeah. This is very difficult for you as an individual, because it's been tough to handle this type of stress and keeping in. You should find someone, or like a therapist or something, just to spill the beans sometimes, because this really relieves you. And I tried it, and to be honest, it's really good to tell someone, even if it's an embarrassing story. And this story, I think, I don't know if any of your viewers or someone that's watching this or people in the world are facing this problem. I wouldn't be comfortable of talking about my personal story at this point, but I like to share it because not everybody would do that. And it's, you could say, I'm really confident to talk about it, because mental health, you could say I've been through this kind of problem. So sharing it might help a lot of people, and might help me to feel comfortable, because I'm talking about who I am and what I've been through, just to accept my past, and just be a good reminder that was in the past. And the past is in the past. Just look at your present and your future. This is what really matters, because what you have been in the past, like you could say, I'm very grateful for God for this 180-degree shift of my personality, of where I've been and where I'm now at. So I'm very grateful for God for aiding me through this path, and I would like to thank him, God, and myself, but most importantly him, because it's been a exhausting roller coaster ride, but eventually I got past through it. You could say I'm not lucky, but I try to find what's best for me. And the trigger, or you could say what made me shift, is a change of environment. Because I went to school, when I was in this school, I was like bullied. Teachers always, like not always, like some of them gave negative comments about me. So staying in that environment where you're weak this is really a big problem, because you're the average of the people you spend time with. If you're people that slack off and procrastinate, that do nothing, you're gonna eventually, whether you're strong enough and you're persistent and you're consistent, that does not matter, because the environment does affect on you. So when you shift that environment, you have an environment of people encouraging you, building their self-esteem, striving for the best, and encouraging you. This is really important. So yeah, that's a big shift that helped me. And you were saying on something.
I exactly what you said. Something else in addition to what you just said, like, it's not that the teachers are like, big issue is the teachers, yes, they're putting negative stuff, yes, they have to tell your parents this and that, but the big issue is they're not understanding how it affects the student, how they're feeling. Yes, they have to give that information, because it's like, in order to actually help the student become better, but the way they're approaching it is not good. They're not thinking about the feelings of a young kid and how it can affect their future. Like it all starts with the kid and like with the teachers. So the teachers have to find a way to communicate the information better in order to avoid any mental health issues from a young age until you get older.
Okay, so I would like to highlight on this point by saying that my school had teachers that were like quite old, and I'm not being here stereotypical, but I'm trying to say here that my teachers were kind of old, and trying to give this old method of giving criticism is really bad. Now I want to mention something, that I was a person that took criticism, especially criticism that is good for me. I took it personally sometimes at some point. But recently and throughout my high school years and my recent college years, and I'm still going through it actually, that constructive criticism, I consider it as a gift to develop as a person. You could compliment me and I can be happy by what you're saying, but if you can provide me with any constructive criticism, that's a gift for me. This is more important for me than compliments. So constructive criticism is very important. And I do sometimes, if I'm not mistaken, when you're saying something which is encoding as a teacher, and I'm decoding it in a way, sometimes the way you say it, you're meaning something, but your actions are saying something else.
Yeah.
So you're saying like, you did bad at this. You might mean that you should improve yourself, I should work better, you should practice, but
yes,
the way you said it, the way I decode it is a problem. So the way, it's always in the encoding, the way you're saying it. So some people might say something, but their actions try to say something else, so I don't actually get what they're really trying to say. So that's the problem, the way of talking, the way of saying, the way of providing criticism. And I could say from my personal view that they didn't take mental health that's important. And I told you, like in the old times, not in the old times, like 90s.
When we were kids.
Yeah, exactly, like in the early 2000s. Yeah. So it was a big problem because they didn't take it into consideration, and that's why I'm really stressing on mental health awareness in school, especially on a young age, because I think a lot of suicide topics and depressions and people in our age is going to smoke, maybe taking drugs or something like that. This is a big issue. That's the main driver. The main problem is mental health. And in the US, actually, a lot of people that are homeless, you could say, are due to either going addiction or because they don't afford it, and probably the main problem is mental health issues. And yeah, that's the main way of we're talking about the teachers, how they're trying to say it.
So in terms of like, there's so much to talk about, like
exactly. So yeah, it's a very
it's such a big topic. Like but the main question is, how can we deal with it? We have so much like resources we can use. Of course, there are some resources that are not good, like alcohol, drugs, and all of that.
Yeah, these are substitutes that are temporary, you could say.
Exactly.
Not efficient at all.
Yes.
I would like to actually show you something just talk about it. I saw it recently. I would advise some people, it depends on their situation, if it's severe or not, to either visit a therapist or talk to someone. This is the first key point, talking to someone. Therapist is like talking to someone, but it's more professional wise. But talking to someone like as we're doing now, and I've personally talked to this story about someone else, so that's why I'm really confident of talking about it. I'm really comfortable with my past because I forgave my past, I accepted my past, I forgave the people. Trust me, I just recently saw some people when I was like 2 years, from 2 years before or 3 years. I was afraid of seeing them again because this creates a lot of anxiety and stress, and oh my God, it was difficult. But when I saw someone out of nowhere like you, I was like, okay, hey, how are you? You good? You good? I just accepted what's happening. I forgave the past and was really relieved because I forgot the past. I don't want to show any hatred, any negative comments. I just want to live my life now, forgiving the past, forgive everybody, forgive everything that happened. I'm just living now. This is the most important. You just can't say this was the past and I hated these people and now I'm good.
You have to learn from the past.
You have to learn from the past. You have to forgive your past. You have to take it as a signal of what you can improve in yourself later on. If you keep this hatred with the people and their memories, you're never going to reach anywhere because you're going to still have the stress. I want you to be stress-free. So highlighting on this idea, yeah, so talking to people, talking to someone, and there's a lot of things you can cope with when you're doing. So I want to mention a page and shout out to them, actually to him. So it's called on Instagram, yalla.lets.heal. So Yalla Let's Heal, and this page mentions a lot of has posts how to deal with stress in exams, how to cope with panic attacks. So just want to mention some of them. So things that make your anxiety worse. This for example, this post talks about what makes your anxiety even much more worse. So let's see what. So using Google to explain every single symptom you feel. So Google sometimes is really disastrous. Like you just search for something that, let's say you have something on your hand or something, you search for Google, you say you're gonna die tomorrow. I don't know, you know what I mean? This creates a lot of anxiety. So don't trust Google, go to a professional, talk to a friend, as I mentioned. So this one point. And the second point would be from this page, losing a lot of sleep due to work. So yeah, sleep deterioration is a really big problem. And a lot of procrastination and anxiety and headaches and stress comes out from not sleeping well. This is very important, and I'm saying it to you and the people that are watching, and to me actually, because this is a big problem, and I have to manage it. And when you're being consistent in your time sleep, this is really good, because when you're consistent in the amount of time you're sleeping, this helps you in building yourself and being consistent, doing your tasks on time, and staying around people that drain your energy. I just mentioned that, so thank you for that, Yalla.Let's Heal. People that drain your energy in the sense of you want to do something, but they're making you slack off. Trust me. I want to stress this again. Someone famous, I'm not sure who says that. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. It's a well said something. So yeah, just show me your friends, and I'll show you your future.
I think I might have seen some TED Talks about this.
So exactly, when you're the environment you're living in. Let's say I'm living. Let me give you an example to make it more clear. So let's say I'm in high school with my friends. Let's say the bad side. So some of them smoke. Someone is an addict. Someone doesn't want to care about school. Someone is dropping off. Dropping out of school. Let's say. I'm saying in this environment. Tell me, what fuels me to continue in school at this point? Nothing. This environment is, regardless of what people say, I can spend time with people that drink, the people that smoke, but I'm different. I spend time in this environment, but I'm not affected. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't think about this. You're gonna get affected. I'm not 100% sure, but sometimes people do get affected, and it's subconsciously it happens. You can't control that sometimes. So when you sit with people that strive for their future, work for their career path, you're going to eventually have to catch up with that people. It's like you're running in a marathon. You're running in a group. This group pushes you to move forward. So this is, whether it's good or bad, pay attention for that. So try to go on the good side to work on your future, and then by then, with the help of God, you'll be on a good track. And another thing that causes saying yes to more plans than you can handle. This is really important because this is what I usually do when I have exams or have chores to do. It's like tomorrow, let me make a list. I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this without assessing each one how much time it needs actually. So I end up either not doing anything or one or two of them, which is really a big problem. So try to put your plans not like on a daily basis, or just like when you want to work out or you want to do your chores or your homework. Just pinpoint something that you can do at this day, actually you can manage. And okay, hyperventilating is basically, I'm not sure what that 100% means, sure, but when you have a panic attack, knowing this is really, really important. When you're facing stresses or panic attacks or anything that makes you nervous, the first thing that is very important is to know that this is a panic attack, that you are being stressed now. This is an anxiety. So by defining what are your problems exactly, you know this is not you. This is the stress, the panic attacks happening. So when you're clearly analyzing what's happening, you know that's not you. That's what's just happening. It's completely normal. Just keep that in mind. Substances such as alcohol, drugs, and including cannabis, I'm not sure, as well as too much sugar and caffeine. So yeah, this is really important. For me, I don't drink caffeine, so that's good. I encourage people to stop it. I know it's difficult, and especially smoking. These kind of, as I told you, they bring temporary relief, and it's not that effective on the long run. So you start to depend on these instead of being dependent on yourself, on your working on your self-commitment, consistency, hard work. You depend on these substances, and this is a big problem. It becomes an addiction. And addiction leads to many catastrophic endings. Exactly. And isolating yourself all the time. This is really a big problem, and especially in the crisis that happened with the corona pandemic. For me, once I was traveling, and as I landed to the airport and I wanted and I tested the positive, so I had to isolate for 5 days. So in these 5 days, I turned into a lunatic, you could say. Living by yourself is good and all, but when you're in a new country and by yourself and you have studies and you're online, the professor is going everywhere in the room and you can't hear them. So this is a big problem, because regardless of the lectures, I mean like living on your own and facing, it's good. It's sometimes good to isolate yourself and focus on yourself and praising God and stuff and being thankful for what you have and stuff like that. So praising God, thankful for what you have, and focusing on yourself. This is important. But sometimes it reaches to the point that you don't have someone to talk to. And for me, I'm an extrovert, so I like to talk to people. I can't stay alone, because when I'm alone, this is really important. When you with your thoughts, you become crazy. Because when you sit alone with your thoughts, sometimes your thoughts get the best out of you. Like they stress you out, and your mind really is a good trickster. He can trick you really good. So you have to pay attention for that, because people that face stress and PTSDs from stuff like the explosion or stuff like I've personally faced in school, might trigger you back, because at the end of the day, it's something that happened with you, and negative thoughts could appear. Okay, so just try to always stay, even if you're introvert, try to talk to someone. This is very important. I'm gonna highlight on that. To talk to someone, because this is a really good relief. Even if it's now, I know sometimes your mom and dad, it could be kind of not embarrassing, like it's kind of
you're just uncomfortable.
Yeah, just talk to someone that's been through this. I know you might not know someone.
My advice, best person, even better than a therapist, is your best friend.
It's your best friend. Yeah, this is really important, because your best friend. Recently, we've been talking on a topic with my best friend. Out of nowhere, we're talking about something, and turned out we're facing the same issue.
Yeah.
So we were really comfortable. I was really comfortable in talking to him about it, because I suffer from that too. I kind of have to deal with this too, So sometimes it's really good to talk to someone, and you might end up actually noticing that that person also gets it, and not me alone. This is very important. I don't want you to think that it's only you that's facing this problem. You could see a lot of people when you're going out to school, going out with people. You could see a lot of people that he's living his best life. He's going out. He has no problems like me. But at the same time, sometimes people always tend to see that also in you, that you're living a good life. You don't have any problems, no family problems, no school problems, no. So it's just try to know that people also have to deal with something else. Like I
everyone has their own story. You just don't know it.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's good at acting that they don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like facing something. So talking to someone about it might have actually end up, say, having the same problem or dealing with something that's similar. And me talking out, maybe, I don't know if the audience might find it relieving to say, oh, that kind of has the same thing that I'm facing with or something similar to it. So it's very comfortable to talk out. So when you're confident to talk out, I was really embarrassed to talk about it. Imagine. So when I talk to someone about it, now I'm very much more comfortable of my past, forgiving it, moving on, focusing on now and the future. Even if now you're facing a lot of problems and a lot of stress, just want to focus that now is your time to move on. I mean, like, I still face some issues, but not like before, so I'm really thankful for God about this. But hopefully by the aid of God, you can get through this, whatever you're going through, even if it's an addiction. And I'm not saying that people that get addicted are like, this is over. No, it's not over. It's not over at all. Just try. It's really, addiction is really difficult. But working on your environment, oh my God, stressing on the environment, it's really important. Restricting yourself, making commitments, engaging with others, socializing with good people, good environment, and making yourself busy with something that is important, whether it's school, whether it's hobbies, whether it's sports. I'm going to talk about that later on, I think, right? It's really important to make yourself busy with these so you could, this is the best advice for addiction, to get rid of it. So I was mentioning about how to cope with the mental health problems. One of them is sports. So sports could be a good getaway for you from these troubles, because sometimes when it comes to, as I told you, mental health problems such as being in stress and anxiety, facing depression, some physical activity would help, and one of them is sports activities, because you need to change these kind of set of moods when you're in stress. Because for me, example, I used to play. I'm actually always still doing it, like volleyball, for example, football with my friends, basketball. So I'm a diverse sports player. So I've done a lot of sports, and the most one that's like fun for me that really helped me in recovering and was my first option as a stress-free option is actually running. I actually participated in Beirut in the 542 program, which is the program that is organized by the Beirut Marathon. So this program specifically, you had lots of teams with a lot of coaches, and it was a 5-month program, which is actually free for training for the 42K run, marathon long run. So the idea of it is like we used to meet around 3 times a week as a team. Each team individually works on works on certain trainings, workouts. You push each other, and at the end of the week, you would usually have like all the teams meet up together, and we have long runs. And each time it gets much more longer, from 5K to 10K to 15K, etc. But the idea of it, having a team that you can push, that you can depend on, helping you throughout the way, is really key here. Because I told you, like as we mentioned it previously, on how like the environment really affects you as an individual. So this environment actually played a role in influencing me in a good way, in a good side. You know what I mean? So making you push others, helping others, seeing their problems, seeing your problems is really beneficial for you to grow as a person, and for your leadership skills, and just enjoying your time with people and building this trust and good habit. And on the other side, you're working out, you're getting in shape, you're changing your mood, you're changing your environment, and it's I think it's proven that when you're physically active, you become more energetic, more focused, not slacking off that much, and focusing more actually on your criteria. So this is the ironic part when people say, like, when you work out, it's like you're taking a lot of time and you don't have time to do your homework, your assignments, or your chores, anything, or your work even. But actually it's helping you to cope with that, and actually helping you strive even more and more, work more efficiently and more effectively at this point, which is really good. So for me specifically, running helped me a lot, and Well, I tried out for the volleyball in my university. I reached the final tryouts, but I honestly didn't see the difference. And the second tryout was the first at the same tryout. It was unfair because the second time I was not, you could say, in the mood or in the perfect shape or something like that. So I ended up not making it, and I tried again to show up to the team and like was not begging, like showed pittiness and I want to join the team.
Resilience.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, and actually ended up liking the team because it was favored and we had senior students, so it was very very tight for you to actually get the opportunity to play in games. So that's why I decided to try out for the track and field team, and I was like in the 542 program. I was doing running, long runs, so why didn't I think of that? So I said to myself, like, I want to go into varsity. I want to enjoy this environment. And as I told you, well, actually, I didn't mention it because I used to focus on my studies just because of my story. Just want to focus on my consistency. But when I got to university, I was like, also was always nervous about my grades and stuff like that. So the first year was online, so I had all this focus on that. But once we got back on campus, I was really excited to try new things, to go into clubs, to go to sports teams, because I want to get the best out of it, you know what I mean? And to help me have different environments so I don't stay in certain constrained environment where I cannot develop as an individual and find ways to relieve stress. So actually, when I tried out to the, well, actually, I didn't have the tryout passed at that time because the volleyball, I had to choose the volleyball. But the coach was really nice, and he was an Olympic. He once reached to an Olympic games once, I guess. Um, and the thing about it is like he was really cool with me. He did a tryout with me. He maybe told me you can train with us now this semester. Next semester you could apply and have the chance of being accepted and stuff like that. So throughout this training, a lot of people also, not the whole team, but also didn't have time to try out, so they also joined the coach was really friendly and very welcoming in the sense of you could come and train even if you're not in the varsity. So throughout the semester really helped meeting new people, running together, pushing each other, training with each other, stretching with each other, and especially in the running, because I'm gonna tell you something, like running, maybe it's not your sports or you don't like it or the people listening don't like it, but the thing about it is what you gain out of it. And what I gain out of it is understanding people, leading people, helping out people, pushing people to do their best, motivating. Even if you had a long and bad day, this was a really good stress reliever for me. So actually once had a long day, and the training usually took place around 5 to 6:30 p.m. So I had a headache. I was so exhausted actually mentally, you could say, and physically kind of, to go to the training. But I pushed myself and went. And on that day, I'm really glad that I did go because I actually had fun, and the headache and all the tiring were gone actually from doing sports. So that's very ironic, you could say, which is really good for me because I want to stress this point because this shows how much, let's say, being physically active could change your mood. Yeah, you could some of them had finals and had exams, and some of them actually were like some were engineers, pre-meds also on the team. So seeing a lot of people from different majors and with different kind of stress and a load on them, striving for their physical activity, because actually many of them actually trained, then showered, then went back to studying after being refreshed. So this shows you how physical activity is really important regarding changing your mood. And this is really good when it comes to mental health issues, when you're in stress and anxiety. For me, running is like running around from your problems, from your stresses. It really helps the person. Now it could be anything. It could be tennis, it could be volleyball, basketball, and as long as you're doing physical activity. Even when I'm talking physical activity, I don't limit it to sports. I limit it also to walking, taking a hike, riding a car or something, just changing your set of environment. This is very important. So good people to stay around with, good environment, and always being physically active are key to, and talking to someone. These are the 4 keys for me when it comes to how to deal with mental health issues. So if you want to highlight on some, yeah,
I actually have three things I want to
yeah,
say.
go ahead.
So, relating, of course, to what you said. So, first of all, our brain is like the most active part in our body.
Exactly, yeah.
So because it sends information to the rest of the body and receives back and forth. So it's always busy.
Yeah,
And that's how our mentality, our mental exhaustion is like based on. So there's something in our brain called endorphins, I think, where it relieves pain, headaches, it relieves you.
yeah,
Yeah. So sports does that to you. It
exactly.
relieves, like people just say do 30 minutes to an hour of sports a day. Like those are just for people who don't even enjoy doing sports. Just exercise 30 minutes or an hour a day. Anything, like you said, it could be anything.
Exactly.
To get that relief in your brain, to get your body refreshed and all of that. Now, I don't know all the chemicals and
Yeah, me
biology
too,
stuff,
actually. But you could sense what you're saying is actually facts, I could say, if you could say that, because it really helps, really, in changing your mood, your it's amazing what your mind can do, really, and you could trick your mind actually by changing your environment, by going out, by doing sports, because sometimes you have many people actually I think have this mentality of, oh, I'm so tired now and I have a headache and I'm so exhausted and I'm overloaded with studies, how I'm gonna have even time for sports even if I'm not feeling it.
yeah.
This is where consistency comes in, and I don't want motivation and or like right now in the moment I'm super excited now I want to work out. No, you shouldn't depend on this, because motivation comes and goes, comes and goes. Consistency is key. This is very important when it comes to consistency. Even when you're treating your mental health, let's say you're sitting in a good environment, I want you to be consistent with that. I want you to stick to that people, to that good environment. I want you to stick to talking to people when you're feeling bad. I want you to stick to being physically active even if you don't feel like it. Just I don't want you to play sports or forcing you. Just try to do these physical activities, go out, because consistency is the key in here in treating your mental health, or actually providing help and relief for your mental health issues, you could say, and have a good mental health. So this is very a key point here, you know. So yeah, and I wanted to again share a post with you from the Yalla.Let's Heal page. Shout out again to them. And it's basically, as I mentioned, it's a page just, now the owner of the page actually is a licensed psychologist, so not someone from Google, just certified, you know. And he does online consultations and he has a clinic, so if you want to check that more. So actually on this point I want to mention a post from him where 6 reasons why we procrastinate. So let's see. So perfectionism, sometimes this creates an unrealistic standard for success, so the task will evoke more stress. So this usually happened to me when I want to, let's say, make, for example, I wanna finish an assignment. I wanna do it really good. I wanna get all the numbers right, all the analysis right, etc. So this actually increases the anxiety and the stress for me.
Because you're hiring the expectations beyond what...
Exactly, which creates a lot of stress, because let's say I'm at the same point and I'm taking this as a normal, now here perspective plays a big role. How you see this assignment, how you see its big importance, how you deal with it. If you give it too much attention and wow, this is gonna change my life and stuff like that, you're gonna end up stressing a lot. Maybe you succeed, I'm not saying you can't succeed, but it creates a lot of stress that is useless at this point. Even if it's a big exam and a final exam, just treat it with the level it needs. I'm not telling you not to be stress free. I can be stress free. I cannot be stress free about this issue also, but there is a certain limit that I don't want this to affect my mental health. Some people sometimes say this is much more important than my mental health. I don't care about this. I want to succeed in this. Okay, go for that, but your mental health comes first. As they say, like, your health comes first before anything in this world. Your health, I mean, like, you have your faith, you have your health, and your education, physical activities, and stuff like that. But these come very important. So another,
I just wanted to say something about, and it kind of relates back to sports because that's where I heard it from. Many of you, of course, know Ronaldo. If you listen to
not a good season for him.
Of course. If you listen to his interviews and when the interviewer talks about like how's your daily life like, he always says, okay, he puts a lot of work, but he also really emphasizes the importance of resting, getting that rest.
Exactly.
Like you need to let your body rest. Even when it comes to studying, you have to let your body rest, your mind
Exactly.
rest, your brain rest. Let it all,
Exactly.
before you, like he's a person that we all know who pushes the limits beyond
Yeah, he's a
expectation.
perfect example of hard work.
And he emphasizes the importance of rest. So it's not like if you rest you're bad. If you rest you're lazy. If you rest you're not
It's
hard
just
working.
part of being you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about resting for your for your mind. Resting could be from doing physical activities, from
Yeah.
going out, changing environment. So
Exactly.
rest could be defined in different ways.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean relaxing and taking a nap, a power nap, or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
So yeah. So another thing would be from the post here is that an anxiety over the unknown. There's the fear that you might not know what to do or not do it well or even fail. This is very important, and I think anxiety is from that is this is the primary fuel for anxiety and stress, is that you don't know what's coming later on, and you have the fear of failure later on. I want to mention something that I used to suffer from, that thing about fear of the future, as I told from my story, because this creates a lot of fear for what's coming. And I just want you to say, like, from my perspective, from my belief, is that like, put your trust on God, faith in God, and just let everything be in its possible. Don't overstress things. Don't force anything.
Yeah.
Whether it comes to meeting new people, finding a loved one, work, sports, or education, don't force anything. Try your best, go smoothly, and let everything be on itself. Don't force anything. This is my advice for
Just
people.
walk the path you're supposed to.
Exactly.
Don't force a new one.
Be chill, be calm. Everything happens for a reason. If you work with this mindset and this way of thinking, a lot of stress and anxiety would be disappearing from you. Another thing here, you get distracted very easily, and you might not have a good sense of time. So this might be linked to ADHD. Some people say it.
Yeah.
So being distracted, you get distracted a lot, and you don't have good sense of time. So this is the main reason of procrastination, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
because you tend to get distracted because sometimes people that get distracted from something because they're afraid of doing it, or are afraid of not succeeding, or they find it very difficult and it's very demanding. What I would say for this is that sometimes, this is beautiful here, because I just remembered something that I'm gonna say something. So being fat, for example, is hard.
Yes. Exactly.
Being fit is hard.
Sorry. Yeah.
Going through a divorce is hard. Being married is hard. Not being educated, not having work is hard. Finding a word is hard. So at this point, nothing is easy.
Yeah.
You have to choose your hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So nothing comes easy, whether it's sports, education, nothing comes even if your hobby, if you want to like develop it, it's not hard. It's not easy.
Sorry.
You have to work for something, so you have to choose your hard. This is very good, something that I've recently realized, that you have to choose your hard. Nothing is easy in this world. Okay, this is life, you know what I mean? You have to work for everything, you know?
If it comes to you easy, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, as I mentioned, just like have faith in God, trust the process, and choose your heart.
And
You know?
also look at, like, if you have an idol, like,
Yeah.
like for example, again, my idol is Ronaldo. I look up to him. If you have someone else who's your idol, look at them. They didn't reach where they've reached without
Right.
putting effort, without working hard consistently,
Exactly.
without pushing themselves, without, like everything we've said, like they put effort. So it's not easy.
Yeah.
If you want to become,
You have to work on yourself at that
Yeah.
point. Nothing is easy. So sometimes also signs for procrastination, or what leads to procrastination, as mentioned here, is the lack of motivation. You might not be even interested in what you're doing. This is very important. Sometimes in life you have to do stuff that we don't like. We have to get through this. Sometimes this happens mostly in high school, when you have to take subjects that you don't like.
yeah,
For me, it was there's some subjects I don't want to talk about it, but you have to get through them. But what would I say is that A good perspective for that, and again, I mentioned here the point of perspective, how you look at that. So you might not be interested in it, but on the other hand, it could be useful for you. You know what I mean? So you're not interested in it, but it helps you later on in your future career path or in your future goals. It could be anything in your
I'll
fitness.
give you an example. Actually.
Yeah.
Nowadays, literally everything is technology based. Like people,
Yeah,
like
it's becoming-
programming, web development,
Exactly.
all of that. People like don't like 90% of the world don't like doing those stuff. But if we look at the facts, it's actually becoming a big thing. It's going to
Exactly.
become our future. They're actually integrating it in nearly all universities now. We got an email not long ago that there's a new program for all students of any majors relating to learning programming.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that at school. It's amazing.
No prerequisites, no prior knowledge is needed. You could learn programming. That's it.
Exactly.
Like
That's amazing.
yeah.
So yeah, this is key. It's about perspective at that point, and another thing would be you really just don't know where to start. The task might seem a bit too complex to you sometimes, and this is true because sometimes I face this difficulty in seeing how to start my assignment, for example. But actually, I strive through it when I'm like. So passing at the beginning is kind of difficult, especially when you're doing sometimes research. This could be difficult, but once you start with the beginning, know what you want to talk about, what you want to see later on in the project, it becomes much more easier. For me, just getting through the first of the problem is, or the complex part,
Yeah.
then it flows, you know?
I actually have a way personally like. Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, so.
So when like you know when you write an essay, you
Yeah.
don't just go writing an essay out of nowhere.
Exactly.
You plan
Brainstorm.
it out. Like for me personally, because I've had so many practices, I don't need to do that much planning. But when you're starting off with writing an essay and you're not good and it's very complex topic, you need to do an argument, this and that. You write an outline before. You always write an outline.
Exactly.
So no matter what you have, no matter what assignment, no matter what problem in the world, it doesn't have to be academic. Make like a outline per se.
Yeah,
Of
that's really good. That's good advice. Yeah, and planning
Yeah.
for everything is key at
Like
this point.
in businesses, you probably know this because you're far ahead. There's always a planning phase before you actually execute anything.
Exactly. There's always planning and budgeting and stuff like. Yeah, you have to budget yourself. Like, what are you gonna do later on? How are you gonna like say, let's say for your income, how are you gonna do? What's your revenue stream? What's your expenses? So it's all about planning, not just in a business perspective. It also comes into your mental health.
Yeah.
How are you gonna plan for it? How are you gonna cope with stuff? How are you gonna plan to be in good environments and treat your mental health as good as possible?
Yeah.
So you see, this planning is really good, and you might feel that you work better under pressure. So your body has gotten used to doing things last minute and still succeeding. So the behavior never went away. This is why you tend to procrastinate sometimes, because you believe in the behavior that you did, which is sometimes not a good behavior. It's just,
I
think
so
you're
relate.
yeah, I noticed
like,
it.
like the 2 English courses I've taken, I have not done one essay where I haven't done it in the last few hours before the deadline. I'm so confident, and so like I'm used to the pressure of writing an essay, complete essay, right before that I just leave it at the end.
That's amazing.
Like,
Inshallah.
it took me a lot of practice at first, like don't get me wrong.
Of course, practice makes perfect, as
Yeah.
you mentioned from your idol. So yeah, and I want to talk about also here a post that he mentioned about. Guys, this page has a lot of posts.
I'm
that
gonna
can-
link it. as
Yeah,
well.
a lot of posts to help you treat, or actually, there's a lot of advices here, and I do recommend them because they really help out. So let me tell you a post where it talks about 6 lies depression will tell you. This sounds nice. So sometimes depression might tell you you're not good enough. In whatever you're doing, you have the sense of you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
This here comes into play when you have to cope with that and actually fight it by describing this, that this is, and I said that earlier, that knowing what you're facing is when you're sitting having stress a lot, you just realize that, oh, try to identify this, that I am now having a panic attack. This is not me. This is something normal that I'm facing. And it's not unusual. A lot of people face it. So when you have the feeling of you're not good enough, just remember your past, your experience, how good a person you are, how far you've been through going through. So this is very key of reminding you, actually identifying what's going on, knowing the problem, and know how to cope with it.
And it's actually a nice skill you could do is everything you said, but you could also be like self-reflect on yourself. If you're thinking that you're not good enough, you're bad, tell yourself, how can you improve? What can you do to change that?
Exactly.
How can I become a better sports player, more athletic? How can I do better at the sport? Like don't like think about the how and the process you want to
And the
take.
why, exactly.
Why
Why this is happening. Sometimes it's just of something that happened with you. So there's always a reason.
Yeah.
You are lazy. Sometimes they say that. So you're lazy. These are signs of depression, because when you come to something and you're just saying and you don't do it, and the thing and the ideas of being, oh, I'm lazy, this plays a role, because this actually demotivates you even more. So this is a big problem. And sometimes some signs of depression would be, it will not get better, you are a burden, you don't deserve help, recovery is not worth it. So here he says, now swipe for the truth, I will tell you, that he mentioned. No matter what your mind or anyone else says, you are always enough, as I mentioned. Like, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but you're always, no one is perfect at this point.
There's something I'm going to be honest with you, I always tell myself this, because I'm always like, okay, I'm not academically strong, I'm not that athletic, like you could probably notice I'm overweight and all that, and a question I always ask myself, like, okay, what's my purpose, what's my purpose in this world, but what I always remind myself is every person has a purpose. If you don't know it yet, find it out. You have a lifetime to find out what your purpose is in this world. That's how I think about it.
Exactly.
Right?
So you're striving for your education, and so you're striving your education and striving for sports. Maybe you're not good enough for that much, or you're not perfect, but you're still doing it, and that's enough for you.
Like maybe in your 30s, your 40s, even your 50s, 60s, 70s, you'll find out what you...
Exactly.
Like,
it's just a matter of time.
Yes.
But you're still doing what you want to do, although you're not perfect, but it's enough.
Yeah.
And he says here, you're not lazy, your energy is spent surviving sometimes. This is really good, the way of paraphrasing the thoughts here. So you won't be like this forever. Recovery is possible. You're not a burden, and you still deserve love and connection. Everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves help. Even if it does not feel like right now, recovery is worth it, and you're not alone. So this is, and I'm gonna just share this last post. There's a lot of posts, guys, but sometimes I just want to highlight on some stuff that seem very important, and a lot of these posts are very important. Just these were the ones that hit up to mind. So 8 hard truths you need to know.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you try, not everyone will like you. This is very important. Being perfect and making people like you, this is kind of impossible sometimes, because not everybody gonna like you, even if you try your best and you're trying to be as good as possible to that person, he might not like you. And I want to highlight on this, because sometimes people do strive to make people like them, when it comes to gaining something from them or making them like them for personal reasons, for personal interests. There's 2 sides that are bad for that story. Forcing that person to like you by changing yourself, and by doing it for personal interests. This is very important. So when you want to make someone really like you and he's not working out and not liking you for who you are, this is a big problem. So you tend to change yourself, change your personality, the way of acting, way of behaving.
Yeah.
please don't do that. Just be yourself. And if he doesn't like you on you for yourself, and this comes to relationships in general also.
You could find this specific thing you're saying. I feel like you could find it mostly in high school students from 9th to 12th grade, because that's when you're like kind of all grown up, and like your life is kind of changing from moving from middle school to high school and living that 4 years. So yeah, I feel like I've seen many people change their behaviors just to fit other people, like the other group.
Yeah, and it's a burden for them. Now, for me, luckily, I thank God that I stayed to myself, true to myself, even though people end up not liking me, and sometimes it hurts. But I know for a fact that I am me for me, and I like being me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like me for being me, which is really good and enough for me.
If you have that one, if you even have one person,
Yeah, that's enough.
that's more than
That's
enough.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
quality over quantity at that point. Another thing, just because you love them does not mean they're right for you.
Yeah.
Now, this is kind of diving away from mental health, but these are points when it comes to loving some person, because this affects your mental health in a certain point. Knowing that they love you, but they're not right for you, it's different. Here it comes to from emotion versus logic. And this ends up in depression and anxiety and stress if you don't figure that out.
Yeah.
People are allowed to have their boundaries. It's not all about you, so you have to set sometimes your boundaries, know who you're talking to, so you have to set sometimes the boundaries.
Yeah.
Maybe you have parents that are impressed by nothing, so you might as well just do what makes you happy. This I do stand sometimes maybe to agree with, but I'm not sure what he actually means here, to be honest. Not everything will have a perfect closure or ending. Don't waste all your time looking for it. So don't always strive for that perfect ending, or this is the last time I'm gonna see him. I'm gonna do something. Wow, I'm gonna make him forget me in a way that's unforgettable, something like that. So yeah, just don't always go for perfect in anything.
Exactly.
Don't try to perfect everything, which this creates a lot of stress and anxiety and worrying. Many people will share different views than you. It doesn't make them a bad person. This is very important because this leads to a lot of trouble and conflicts between people. It's just about perspective, and you have to understand the other. You have to see that this man, although believes in a different way, you have to respect that this is the way of his believing. You can try to convince him, but don't force it.
Yeah.
You are not perfect. No one is. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Nobody.
This is a big reminder, and this is again and again, perfectionism leads to a lot of mental health issues sometimes. And now everyone is responsible for your feelings, and you're not responsible for everyone else's. So this is a mutual respect kind of stuff, So yeah, this is some of the pages. Some of the posts actually from the pages, and I do recommend visiting it. It's yalla.lets.here. I think you're gonna mention that in the description. So yeah, this is from that page, and covers a lot of interesting topics, and it's a really good thing for mental health. And he's a clinical, as I mentioned, psychologist, and he has online consultations. So if you can't talk to your family or your special friends, your best friends, try to consult a therapist. At the end of the day, therapy is not bad. It's very stereotyped in Lebanon that unfortunately sometimes if you're going to a therapy, they think you're a lunatic.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you. Again, this is also another big person many people know, probably not here, but KSI.
Yeah,
you know
KSI, of course.
Yeah. He's a YouTuber, in case you don't know. He's been around for many years, for over a decade. And
wow, didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been from like 2009 maybe. And if you listen to his recent videos, not even recent, like about 2-3 months ago, he said he started therapy. He literally comes out on a podcast talking about how therapy has helped him, how therapy has done this and that for him. He said the amount of stress that is relieved from him is unexplainable. Like, therapy is no joke. Like, yes, when we're young, we think, oh, okay, yeah, therapy is dumb, you're a loser, you're this and that. But no, therapy is actually like the fact that you could release your self talk to, just
Exactly, talking to someone
Yeah.
with, especially talking to someone is really key. But when it comes to an expert in that field, he could actually or she could help actually make you much more relaxed,
Yeah.
much more understood, and much more relieved in a way that you can find that, oh, this is a person that I feel comfortable talking to, I can rely on,
Yeah.
and he or she does not take advantage of my feelings.
Yeah.
So exposing yourself to therapy is really key, and I do encourage it, especially here in Lebanon after the financial economic crisis and the Beirut explosion. A lot of mental health problems are rising, I guess. So this is really key in Lebanon. It's well needed. Sometimes it's kinds of it's not for free. Sometimes do some actually some people do offer it for free, but at some points it's not always free. But try to invest your money. You could say, if you could, that's a big opportunity for you. If you have this advantage, invest your money in being therapy, because therapy is like
It might
it's
actually,
like
in a way, make you like not a better person as if you're bad, but you just feel better, and you'd actually, maybe if you're working and you're not feeling good, but then change and go to therapy and invest in that money, you might actually perform better in your job and get promotions, become like you could think of it that way too. If you
exactly,
like.
exactly. It's like having your personal trainer, but not fitness,
Yeah.
more mentally.
Yes.
You have to put this perspective. A lot of people don't think about that actually, I guess, because it's like having a personal trainer or your coach in the gym who is working with you to make you fit physically.
Yes.
Therapist is the same thing, but making you fit mentally.
Yes.
And being mentally healthy makes you focus on your health as fitness, as physical.
Yes.
So this is a source that helps fix a lot of problems.
And therapists are well known for being one of the best listeners out there.
Yeah, exactly,
Like,
exactly.
They listen to you.
Exactly.
They let you talk. They don't interrupt.
This is your time to shine.
Yes.
This is time you talk.
Yeah.
Talk.
And also, I actually wanted to share something. Like, I don't always do this. I do this every once in a while. If I have something deep I want to do, I have like a journal, like an electronic journal, where I just, instead of like talking it to someone, I just literally write everything,
Yeah.
paragraphs.
And it's amazing you mentioned that, because sometimes, and I recently tried it when I tried to express myself in words of how my day went, and it's actually kind of relaxing. Sometimes it does release some anger and stress, and it makes you highlight on stuff that you did in the day, that you regret or you learned from. So writing it down sometimes, and I usually don't. I don't not like it, but it's sometimes demanding to write what you want to say, and I prefer talking. But sometimes when I'm alone and I try to write it down what I'm feeling, it actually helps a lot. And I want to say something out is like when you. This is really nice. I heard it from someone saying it about someone. No matter how much you succeed in life, no matter where the places you go, the person you become, always be thankful for God for what you've been through and how you're now, and always look in the mirror at the end of the day. At the end of the day, what did I do wrong? You're not a perfect person, as I mentioned. You're not perfect. We humans do make mistakes, so just go back home, look at the mirror. I bet you have a mirror, so look at the mirror and say to yourself, what did I do right today and what did I do wrong? What I did right today, I'll be thankful to God and be good to my I'm gonna be proud of myself. And what I did wrong, I would try to seek forgiveness from God, learn from mistakes, and work on not doing that mistake again. If you do that every single day, and I'm saying it to you and to the listeners and to me, if you do that every day, I know it's difficult, but if you do that every day, you're not gonna be perfect, but much more at a bigger and better level than you were before. This is really important here. So yeah, talking to people, whether it's through therapy, close people, working out physically, and as I mentioned, changing the environment. The better the environment, the better it is. And distract yourself with something that you like, and don't give stuff a lot of stress and fear and anxiety for over what they need. So don't overload your stuff with that. These are the 5 things I could you could say highlight on from the topic of our podcast today, mental health. Mental health, you have a lot of illnesses, um, whether it's depression, anxiety, I don't know if I'm mentioning them right, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So there's a lot of disorders, and these are the ways you can fix them. Now, some people do go to medicine,
Yeah.
but I would advise going through these
Yeah.
first. And sometimes the medicine does help, actually. Helps you, not just pay attention. Sometimes that medicine does not cure you,
Yeah.
but helps you release the stress.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes temporary, just to help you with following these 5 steps, you know what I mean? And sometimes compulsions help. Compulsion, knowing what you're facing, knowing that you're now in stress, you're facing anxiety, you're facing a panic attack, identifying the problem, knowing what it is. It's like just solving a problem. You're looking at a case, okay, wow, that's a horrible case. Oh, that's the problem, and this is how we solve it, or that's how we cope with it. So just be like this analytical person.
Yeah.
So this,
I actually have a few things I want to share. Tracking back before I continue off what you just said, tracking back to the journaling, like you said, some people don't like to write, so do voice recordings, voice recordings, and just talk. One thing, because it actually happens to me, and we talked about how resting is very important to relieve us from all of the mental health issues we're having. I don't know if you guys feel the same way and you feel the same way, but that's how, when I want to go to sleep, I struggle. I can't. Sometimes people say, okay, you're not tired, but if you think about it, when you go lie in bed, your phone is on the side and all of that, and you try to go to sleep, but you can't. It's because your brain is very active. There's a lot of stuff happening in your brain. You're thinking a lot.
Exactly. At this point, you always sometimes I don't know if this happens to you or to the listeners, but when you once close your eyes and you're trying to sleep, everything of the day starts coming up sometimes.
And you need
to reflect on that. You need to work on that. You need to see. Sometimes it can be very stressful. Sometimes it's good stuff that you did in the day. I remember, just not always the bad stuff.
Yeah.
So just reflect on the bad stuff. Be thankful to God on the good stuff that you did, that happened. And this is really key, because recognizing what's happening, what's right, what's wrong, what you could improve on, what you can learn from, what you should be thankful for God on. These are really important when being analytical, being a structured person.
And a way to do that is, again, this is me. If I can't, because when you actually want to go to sleep, try to sleep. You could stay up to 4 hours laying in your bed doing nothing. Like it's just like that. So, and because we said there's a lot of information, a lot of thoughts going through your mind, so write it down. Because when you write it down, then your brain's like, okay, I released all that information out. Now I'm relaxed. Now I can go to sleep and rest my body.
Exactly. So it's a matter of how to relieve your stress.
Yeah.
And on that point, I was trying to say something about an idea here that stress is just a trigger. So again and again and say it, identifying that what you're going through, and it's not easy, and because sometimes you can identify that this is stress, this is anxiety. It's not a good feeling. That's the problem. It's not a good feeling. It doesn't solve your problem directly, but knowing that this is normal, this is how humans behave. You have these feelings, it's completely fine. Just know what you're facing, how to cope with it, and that's key. Knowing that this is stress and learning how to cope with it. Now, coping has different methods. You could ask experts on it, or ask a friend how you usually deal with it. And some of them, as we mentioned, sports, you could say, changing the environment, etc., etc.
There's one more which I don't think we're going to have enough time to talk about today, because it's a very long one. Religion. And I think
religion.
It needs its own own discussion.
Religion,
because religion is, for
key.
many people, it's a big part of their lives. And I could see it's a part of yours, and it's a part of mine. It's like religion is our guide, but again, it's
our guide, as you mentioned, perfectly said. For me, religion now, it depends on the perspective for people. I don't want to delve in any type of religion now, but it's a way of guidance. It's a way of giving you a guide to a successful life here and the hereafter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is a different topic. I would
Yeah.
like to talk about it. It's an amazing topic, and sometimes it helps in relieving stress
Yeah.
and anxiety and mental health issues. This is a really good topic. We'll see what your subscribers would mention about that if they want to hear something about it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm looking forward to it. If you wanna, I mean, I'm enjoying my time. I'm hoping the listeners are enjoying this podcast as much as I am. So.
We're talking a lot about these stuff like people don't
You
usually
talk about,
because the issue is when we talk about mental health,
it's a taboo. Yeah,
it's a taboo. It's very broad. Like, okay, we need to fix ADHD. We need to fix depression. Fixing, okay, how do you fix it?
how you fix it?
You
You're just trying to say, okay, mental health. Okay, this is really good. I want to hear you implementing programs. I want to see people learning how to cope with it, learning how to identify what problems they're facing, learning how to talk, to be okay talking about it.
Like,
Okay.
put more action into what you're saying.
Exactly. It's just like walk it, talk it like you walk it like you talk it.
Talk the talk, walk the walk. I think. Something
Yeah,
like
yeah. Walk it like I talk it, something like that. It's from amigos, I'm not sure.
that.
But
I don't know.
just like walk the talk. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Walk the talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so just not say that mental health is good, and let's say I'm gonna post something on my story, mental health awareness campaign month. Wow, mental health awareness this month. Okay, no, I posted it. What's gonna make a difference?
Yeah.
We're out here doing a podcast talking about mental health and sharing personal stories. This is much more important and much more effective than just sharing a post on story on Instagram. I'm not telling you this is bad,
Yeah.
but this is not enough for
Yeah,
us to
exactly.
actually reach something. So I hope people are listening, learning that, oh, this person, whether it's me or you, are learning from our stories. It's very similar for their problems. This is really key because you have a I could say a model or a story that could act as a role model for you when working on your mental health. And mental health is very important and becomes more, it's much more important than your physical health. Now, of course, religion is good, primary for religion and for your faith in God, being thankful. Then comes your mental health, which is really important for you to succeed. So I would like to end up, if you want to add something on that topic.
Yeah, I guess just our final note, like when I listen to podcasts and sit there and listen, it doesn't necessarily have to be mental health, but
Yeah.
when I listen to any podcast, I'm like, it hits me. I could feel it like in my chest, I could feel how deep it is, the topic they're talking about. I could feel it, and I really do hope our viewers
are sensing that kind of,
yeah,
that's happening to me, that's going through me. Yeah.
Like,
it's amazing. I hope this is the idea of podcast talking. Sometimes it could be topic of interest and topic that you really need. And when you're talking and people are relating more and more, this is the kind of wow factor in that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's been amazing being on a podcast. This is a new experience for me. I hope you found my words useful. I hope the listeners found it useful.
Yes, 100%.
I really enjoyed my time, and the working with you was amazing. The podcast is amazing. Keep on striving, and I would like to. It depends on your viewers and what they say to continue on new topics. I'm really looking forward to that. If you want to mention something.
I just want to say yes, exactly what you said. I'm happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's my favorite podcast so far.
Oh, that's amazing to hear.
And there's obviously, if we could keep on talking forever. Like, I don't think we're done in talking.
Exactly. This topic goes on and on and on, and especially it's actually with the funny thing is that we're not experts in these clinical psychologists or psychologists, be it. But the experience sometimes is what enriches our talks. So we're not experts, but it's something that we've been through, and we're trying to make that reach out. And I guess that's my ending point from here. If you wanna,
I just want to say again, thank you for coming.
Thank you. I've enjoyed my time. Really, it's been amazing, and I'm looking forward for future podcasts. And podcasting, actually, this is one of my new, one of my new podcasts that I'm doing, and I'm actually trying. As I want to mention something that always expose yourself to new stuff, whether it's in sports, in activities, in clubs, extracurricular activities, workshops. Do expand, because you don't know what you end up liking. Maybe I'm not good at podcasting, but I'm trying it. Maybe I'm not going to continue it later on, but talking about something or finding something that you might be good at, you have to discover. You can't know, I'm not sure, but you can't directly know what you're good at. You have to explore, discover stuff. So maybe podcast could be something new for me.
Because talking is a
help.
good way to learn new stuff,
and
not just about each other.
At the end of the day, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to a mic or to a wall. I'm talking to a person that we're communicating and talking about certain topic that is interest to us and to the people that are watching.
Exactly.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe podcast could be something new for me. So, or maybe something else. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna go explore. Okay, so don't limit yourself. Don't say, I'm not good at this. Okay, I'm not gonna do anything. No, keep on exploring.
Yeah.
And that's my ending note. Thank you for having me again. It's been a pleasure. And any ending fishing note?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing I didn't want to mention in midway. Sorry for the technical issues. There's been a lot of blanking out.
Blanking out. I think we're new to the changing environment. Sometimes overheating happens, or
and I also don't have a proper studio to work
Yeah, we're
in.
just vibing in different places.
Yeah.
Sometimes the board turns off. Sometimes the screen goes off. I don't know why. Maybe for overheating. So it's okay. It's manageable. You can do this. I always encourage you for. I want to thank you and support you for what you're doing on this channel, for trying to talk about certain topics. And thank you for having me. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And this is the third time we're trying to close it, but we're not closing it. Again, thank you so much. All the support, all the love. I hope the people love the podcast. And I hope to meet again for a new podcast, hopefully.
You too.
Nice to meet you, man.
You
nice
too.
too.
And also, don't forget to like, share, and
subscribe. Yeah, please, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Support this page. It's been amazing, and it has. I hope it has good insights for later on in the future. And thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys next time.
Take care, and always be thankful to God. Trust yourself, trust the process. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Just let everything be on self. Always strive for the best, and that's it. Take care.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.